So we're going to be on with you for a while here. You can see the line of storms off to the north and also the northwest. These storms are producing hail, some high winds, and occasional tornado spin-ups, at least on the radar scan. In addition, showers and thunderstorms are really starting to become numerous now, even around the metro. You can hear the thunder, see the lightning outside our studios right now. Locally heavy downpours, but it's just off to the west and also the northwest of the metro, where we have a tornado warning in effect for sections of Du Bois County as well as western Orange County. And these go until 11 o'clock tonight. So if you're in these regions just north of Patoka Lake, on through Du Bois County, please get to your tornado warning shelter immediately, as we have a line of thunderstorms off to your west that is capable of producing some severe weather, including tornado spin-ups, damaging straight line winds, very heavy rainfall, and perhaps even a little bit of hail as well. This entire line moving off towards the east at speeds of around 40 to 50 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and check out some of the wind in this particular cell, and you can see these brighter shades of green. These are actually winds that are blowing towards the right-hand portion of your TV set, right next to winds that are much, much weaker. So that in itself implies cyclonic rotation. That's why these tornado warnings are being issued. It's a little bit different than what happened earlier today in the Madison area. That was a supercellular thunderstorm, a discrete cell that produced a tornado that seemed to be on the ground for a pretty long period of time. These, if they do occur, are going to be quick hitting as everything moves off to the east. Quick spin-ups. They could diminish only to redevelop. So again, just to be safe, we need you in your basement and stay there until the tornado warning has either expired or been canceled. This is Orange County right here, so we're giving you a lot of lead time right now to get into your place of safety. So we're talking places like, let's say, French Lick, Prospect, West Baden Springs. Those regions are the areas that I need you in your basement right now, as this storm is moving rapidly off to the east at speeds of 40 to 50 miles an hour. We'll go back to the reflectivity and we'll pull out, we'll take a look at the entire region. And again, you can see the scattered storms close to Louisville. It's kind of noisy out there right now, but these are not severe, producing locally heavy rainfall. Some of the stronger cores where you see the darker reds, there could be a little bit of hail, but so far the cells around the metro up through places like Trimble County that got hit very, very hard. Heightened awareness, no question about it. These are not severe, but again, they're packing a punch with some heavy rainfall, maybe a little bit of small hail. This is the line of storms that is indeed on the severe side. Occasional wind gusts over 60 miles an hour, perhaps a little bit of hail, and every so often there can be a tornado spin-up, a quick spin-up, as everything moves off to the east at speeds of 40 to 50 miles per hour. So we will continue to monitor everything for you. We're going to be on the air with you. Keep in mind, please, a tornado watch remains in effect now for just about the entire viewing area. The exception, Adair County, but everybody else is in the watch that goes until 4 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Meteorologist Suzanne Horgan is in with us, as is Daniel Johnson. Daniel's been here for the better part of the day as he was tracking the severe weather with me earlier along Mo Rose. Daniel, what's the latest? You've been checking out some of the chat rooms and things like that. What's the latest with this storm moving towards Du Bois and Orange County?
Yeah, so right now we're getting some reports of some hail within this line that's approaching Du Bois County and rolling through portions of the viewing area. And you mentioned, Jay, the tornado watch is now including the entire viewing area. Initially, earlier today, it was just for portions of southern Indiana, which was including Orange County, Lawrence County, Jackson, and Jennings. But now it includes the entire area. and that includes the metro until 4 o'clock in the morning. So the National Weather Service is watching this line as it rolls through, and it is, at least it has a history of producing some spin-up tornadoes in terms of rotation and what we see on radar. So, and Jay mentioned this one is not exactly like the storm we had earlier today. So there's nothing confirmed just yet in terms of a tornado on the ground or anything like that. Still a very impressive system that we're watching closely. We'll pop up Storm Analyzer for you, and you can just see where these red boxes are, the red polygons, and that's including Du Bois County, as we mentioned. That's up toward French Lick, as Jay mentioned as well. So get in your basement if you're in these red boxes, or even right around these red boxes, because these storms mean business. They're howling, moving very quickly off to the east, and they are having a history of producing some rotation here. So we're watching it closely as it moves off east at a pretty good clip as well, but you can see a pretty organized line right there that's racing off to the east. Right now, though, we have a couple of tornado warnings. So we have one including for the Jasper area, so Du Bois County, and just one more tornado warning up just north of there as well. Jay?
Okay, Daniel, thanks so very much. And hey, if you would, Daniel, there's a storm. Looks like it's in northern Crawford County. It looks like it's becoming a little bit of a kidney bean shaped appearance, supercellular, in other words. It's out ahead of the main line. If you would, kind of do an analysis on that one for me. Yep. Tell me your thoughts. It's right there. No warnings with that one just yet, but it's looking quite interesting on the radar scan. So here we are, the entire viewing area. Scattered thunderstorms now blowing up in and around the metro, surrounding regions. At this time, these are not warned, but they are producing some locally heavy rainfall, perhaps some gusty winds in a few spots underneath severe limits, and maybe a little bit of hail. But as you know, these storms are rolling across portions of Indiana and Kentucky that had the tornado earlier today. So no question, there's a lot of heightened awareness going on, especially as you move off to the northeast of the metro, from Hanover to Madison to Milton, over towards the Carrollton area as well. But we can safely say right now, folks, in those regions, no tornadic weather for you. We will continue to monitor the line off towards the west. Okay, let's go ahead and take off the warnings here. And what I want to do is zoom in pretty tight on areas that are closing in on Orange County, perhaps even northwestern Du Bois County. And you can see this little notch right there. We call that an inflow notch. Warm, humid air is feeding into this storm, and then it spirals upward into the depth of the clouds, if you will, way up there in the atmosphere. And as it's spinning and rotating, if that tightens, you can get a quick tornado spin up. And it looks like we're seeing a bit of a hook now trying to form immediately off to the west of Orange County. This would be southern portions of Martin County right there, just outside the viewing area, but it's right there on the county line, Du Bois County, Martin County. This is the one that's going to be pushing off towards the what the guys are watching out there, and
they're watching everything very closely. You know, we are limited because it's dark out. We have obviously a harder time seeing what's happening. We have had some reports of some a little bit farther down to the south into Breckenridge County of some hail reports. And Jay, you know, if you that was hard hit earlier, this looks like it's a little bit south of where we had the tornadoes earlier this afternoon, but certainly right on top of Bedford. It looks like certainly under the gun there. Yeah, Daniel, what do you see in that? A nice little hail core in near Bedford.
Yeah, so this one for Trimble County and pushing over into portions of Carroll County as well. This one is in effect mainly for the hail core, as Jay mentioned. You can see the bright purple showing up in and around the Bedford area. I'll zoom in here. That is impressive here. So we have over an inch in diameter hail, an inch and a half as a possibility in terms of some large hail falling within that storm. So again, this area was hit hard earlier today. So this storm system is moving quickly. A lot of these storms tonight are moving at around 45 to 50 miles per hour. So very impressive. The faster the storm moves, usually the stronger some of the wind gusts can be associated with the storm. So the National Weather Service is mentioning winds gusting to 60 miles per hour, and then some large hail possible within this storm. And it is moving off to the east and northeast. Check out Carrollton, also hard hit earlier today, under a severe thunderstorm warning for some hail and some gusty winds as well. These storms definitely mean business, and they've been packing a punch, and you can see how far north and east that severe thunderstorm warning goes into effect as well. So that's impacting Trimble County, portions of Carroll County as well, and also it looks like just a little portion of, yeah, that's Carroll County and just off to the north and east. But overall, we have several warnings in effect across the area. We have severe thunderstorm warnings for Crawford County, also up toward Trimble, as I mentioned, in Carroll, and then we had those tornado warnings. Now it looks like, Jay, if we want to pop you back up, if you want to discuss the new tornado warning, it looks like that is now in effect for Paoli is now included within that.
Yeah, these things are really intensifying once again across the WLKY viewing area. There's the severe thunderstorm warning around Bedford for the hail, moving off towards the east-northeast, watching from Bedford, watching from Carrollton. Please be on the lookout for hail and also some high winds. All right, let's pull out, take a look at the entire region. Brand new tornado warning has just been issued for us here now in central portions of Orange County. This would include the Paoli area, Millersburg, Chambersburg, over towards, again, French Lick, just south of Orleans. We do have some rotation on the radar scan. This rotation continues to actually maintain itself as it moves quickly off towards the east at speeds of around 40 to 50 miles per hour. As far as the bright reds right next to the bright greens, don't really see that right now. But one thing I do see, and I'm going to kind of telestrate this for you, you see that brighter shade of green right there. That's a very strong wind that's blowing off towards the east-southeast. And then immediately north of that, the wind field is lighter. So that in itself implies rotation, cyclonic rotation. That's why the tornado warning has likely been issued for portions of central Orange County for the next several minutes as this line continues to quickly race off to the east. So if you're in this region, folks, bottom line, please be in your basement and stay there. If you don't have a basement, lowest level of your house in an interior room, stay away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside to protect yourself. Let's go ahead and take this off. As a matter of fact, let's go over some of those safety warnings when it comes to tornadoes. Absolute best spot to be in a basement. As I mentioned, if you don't have a basement, lowest level of your house, interior room. Make sure that room, if it's possible, doesn't have any windows. Most interior rooms do not. Avoid those windows. Get underneath something sturdy. Cover yourself up. You want to help stop any and all debris that's flying around outside, of course. Mobile homes, if you can do so, get out of those things. And we ask that you do this before the storms hit. Make that plan to go somewhere sturdy. Perhaps it's a grocery store, maybe it's a gas station, a restaurant, or a friend's house, a relative's house. Those are the types of plans we ask you to make before the storms hit your particular area. All right, back to the radar scan. Let's kind of reset here, take a look at what's going on across the entire region. We'll put the rainfall or the reflectivity pattern back on, and a plethora of warnings now showing up, most of them severe thunderstorm warnings running from Trimble County, Carroll County, and points off to the east-northeast, really the same chunk of real estate that got hit by the tornado earlier today. Severe thunderstorm warning, northern Harrison County, southern sections of Washington County in Indiana. This is tracking towards Borden and Daisy Hill. So if you're in and close to those regions, be on the lookout for hail and also some high winds. And this storm looks like it's starting to try to rotate as well. So we'll watch it closely. And then farther off to the west, as you can see, we have the tornado warnings for that line of very intense convection that is showing, at times anyway, little mesovortices, little spin-ups along the line. So those spin-ups can certainly reach down, touch down, cause some damage, and then only a minute or two later, it's gone, but it can reoccur. That's the type of situation we are dealing with. New severe thunderstorm warnings issued out ahead of the line in the orange, as you can see. Western portions now of Washington County, eastern sections, southeastern sections of Orange, down into Crawford and northern Perry. So really, bottom line, folks, anywhere along and east of this little line segment of storms, we have to be on the lookout. Number one, for high winds, some hail, and maybe even an isolated tornado spin-up or two. That's the way it's looking right now. Watching from the metro, you know what? We do have some locally heavy downpours around, but no warnings in and close to the metro right now. This would include New Albany, Clarksville, Jeffersonville, up to Sellersburg. This would include places like Prospect, Glen Oaks, over towards the Ford truck plant. You get into Pee Wee Valley, over towards Crestwood, down to near Fern Creek, even though we've had some locally heavy rainfall around Fern Creek and Glen Mary. Not severe right now. And then on the west end as well, just light to at times moderate rainfall near the Portland neighborhood down to the Jefferson County Memorial Forest, another batch of light rain. But the metro right now, seeing pockets of heavy rainfall, but no severe weather. All the severe weather on a scattered basis off to the northeast, and it becomes a little bit more widespread where you see the orange blinking polygons, severe thunderstorm warnings, and in red, the tornado warnings, which we still have to watch out. So if you're in that tornado warning, Orange County, Du Bois County, please stay in that tornado warning shelter area until the storms have passed on by.
And
guys, what do you have?
Jay, they did find in Du Bois County a 51-mile-per-hour wind gust, so that is something. Also, some reports in the metro. I had someone email me that in the Barber Mead area, they did pick up some significant hail there. We also had some reports of some hail into the New Albany area. And Daniel, I think, did you have a little something to add to that?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we're getting those reports, some ground reports, some weather stations reporting some of those stronger wind gusts within this line. But we mentioned it earlier, the storm that impacted portions of Trimble County, Jefferson County, and Indiana earlier today that had that EF2 tornado damage. That was some very impressive rotation that was just obvious on radar. This is the type of pattern, as we mentioned, where there's just a really nice organized line of severe thunderstorms. And sometimes you look at velocity, you scratch your head, and you're like, huh, I don't really see much in the way of rotation. However, we're in that type of pattern where we have so much moisture in the air. We had temperatures in the 80s today. Little bits of change within the atmosphere and a tornado can quickly spin up here. So we're watching that organized line, and where they're seeing a more of organized rotation or a slightly more impressive rotation is where they're issuing that tornado. And that's the one tornado warning that is in effect for now. That includes Paoli, but that long, look at that elongated severe thunderstorm warning out ahead of it. That includes Leopold, English, Livonia as well. That's a tornado tag, so it means there's some rotation within this line. It isn't as obvious as the one that hit Trimble County earlier today and Jefferson County, Indiana, but there's some rotation there, Jay, and it's something that they're a little concerned with and want the public to know. Pay attention. There's a little bit of rotation. We're in that kind of pattern where the rotation isn't like obvious. It doesn't stick out. Right. But it's a type of pattern where these quick spin-up tornadoes could occur within that line.
Yeah, and no doubt. And the fact that it is nighttime now, you can't see these things. It's raining, so it's better to be safe than sorry. The environmental conditions are ripe for tornado spin-ups, some hail, and also some gusty winds. So no doubt that's why the NWS is issuing these occasional warnings where we see these little notches. All right, so there's the radar pattern right now. A scattering of showers and storms running from Carroll County, Trimble County, back into Henry County, scattered about the metro on the north side, the south end, and then back off towards the southwest, down to just south of Brandenburg, kind of scattered around Hardinsburg right now, north of Litchfield. Nothing for us in E-Town, nothing in Bardstown or south of the parkways. That will change, okay? That's going to probably change in the next 1 to 2 hours as this entire mess, if you will, continues to sag off towards the southeast. Keep in mind, as Daniel just alluded to, we have the tornado watch that continues until 4 a.m., and this is for the entire viewing area. Now, it's the northern northwestern one half of the viewing area that's getting the severe weather threat right now as this sinks off towards the southeast. And again, that will happen after midnight. Our southern communities, the Commonwealth, will get into the severe weather threat at least for a couple of hours. All right, so there are the scattered storms around the metro. off to the southwest, and then the line of more distinct storms that is looking a little bit discombobulated right now to me, and that's great news. Hopefully that trend will continue, but there's still enough kinks in the line and enough appendages and inflow notches that the NWS is actually holding on to the tornado warning, especially here in central portions of Orange County. Flashing on your screen are all the warnings. The tornado warning, central Orange County. This includes you folks in Paoli. Please stay in your basement, all right? And then you have in orange the severe thunderstorm warnings. The closest warning to the metro is the storm that's cruising across southern portions of Washington County near Fredericksburg and then heading towards Borden and Daisy Hill. It's very close to Palmyra right now. This will continue to carry it off to the east-northeast across mainly central and northern portions of Clark County. So if it maintains its intensity, we'll have to be on the lookout for some high winds, maybe a little bit of hail as well, especially across the northern two-thirds of Clark County here within the next 30 minutes. Another severe thunderstorm warning from about Carrollton and points off to the east-northeast. Hail and potentially 60-mile-an-hour winds with that cell. And then we have the line that's farther off to the west here. This line capable of producing not only winds on a scattered basis of 60 miles an hour or greater, but also perhaps little tornado spin-ups every so often. The greatest potential for that to happen in the near term will be right around central portions of Orange County near Paoli, and now just off to the east of Paoli. So we're talking places like Millersburg as well as Chambersburg. If you live in those areas, stay in your basement. If you're in western portions of Washington County here near the Hitchcock area, Livonia, Hardinsburg, be on the lookout. You're not underneath a tornado warning just yet, but this storm is moving in your direction. Let's go ahead and check out some of the winds in this thing. And there's, as Daniel alluded to, there's nothing that really sticks out to me and says tornado on the ground with this particular line. Matter of fact, I think even the rotation is becoming a little bit more ill-defined too.
Yeah, I agree, and we've been there, done that, Jay. I remember just, was it a couple months ago, Suzanne was actually here during the morning show, and there wasn't a lot of rotation on radar, but we had a tornado touch down. So we've had moments where you don't see it too impressive, but we're in that type of pattern. You know, you recognize the pattern there, and where we could be seeing some of these quick spin-up tornadoes. So just one lone tornado warning in effect right now. I wanted to concentrate on that one again in Orange County. So Jay mentioned it. Those of you in Paoli, take cover right now. Get to your safe spot. Chambersburg as well. This storm is moving at a clip of around 50 miles per hour. Very fast-moving storm. So even if a tornado doesn't touch down, we're talking winds gusting to 60, perhaps higher within the storm. So a dangerous storm moving east with some rotation, not impressive, but enough where the National Weather Service is issuing that tornado warning, which will go in effect through 11:15. So we have about 10 more minutes to wait and see if that does expire. And then as a whole, outside of that tornado warning, we had that severe thunderstorm warning just for the entire line that's rolling off to the east. So a lot of activity tonight. The good news, Jay, though, I'm noticing some weakening within the line, which we were talking about earlier today. It was always southern Indiana and just to the north and west of the metro that has the best chance, the greatest threat for tornado activity. Doesn't mean the metro south is out of the woods, but this line is weakening as we were hoping and expecting it to as we moved through the night.
Yeah, so no doubt we're getting into the late evening hours, so losing a little bit of instability. Suzanne, what do you have?
We were just going to talk a little bit about if you are in the metro, and obviously you are probably hearing a ton of thunder. You're seeing a ton of lightning. It's nearly constant. We have had some reports of some hail in the metro. Jay and Daniel, of course, have been telling you that we don't have any warnings in the metro, but I know it's noisy and I know it's scary. Certainly hearing all of that thunder and seeing all that lightning, especially considering the weather that we had earlier today. We did have that 51-mile-per-hour wind gust out of Du Bois County. Several reports of hail from New Albany, Barber Mead. Also some reports of some quarter-size hail into the Fern Creek area. So we have had some storm reports. And by the way, we always appreciate your sending in your pictures. They really help us, especially at night, Jay. And that's one of course, the most dangerous time to have tornadoes is because you cannot see them. Yeah. And obviously with the heavy rainfall that we're seeing right now, that would be be rain wrapped also.
Any reports of wind in and around the metro yet?
Not
Suzanne?
in the metro. We did out of Henderson County, Kentucky. There was just a quick 46-mile-per-hour wind gust just moments ago. But in the metro, we've had no really strong wind reports yet. I think it's been heavy rainfall, some hail, and nearly constant lightning.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, guys. I do appreciate it. Let's get back to it. Here's the big picture. We'll kind of reset, tell you what's going on if you're just now joining us. Number one, we've got some warnings around the WLKY viewing area. One tornado warning we've been talking about. This is now in central and eastern portions of Orange County in southern Indiana, basically from Paoli and points off to the east over towards Millersburg and Chambersburg. That stretch right there, and that's very close to US Highway 150, okay? So if you're in and close to that stretch, just stay in your basement until the storm has passed on by. The warning has either been expired or canceled across the region. That is a severe thunderstorm warning, okay? This encompasses the main line segment for the possibility of scattered wind gusts that could reach over 60 miles an hour. And then out ahead of that line segment, we have these individual cells that blew up over the past hour or two, and those too are tapping some of the energy out there, the wind energy, rotating just a little bit, maybe becoming supercellular in nature, not enough to actually produce tornadic weather. Keep your fingers crossed on that, but certainly enough to produce some hailstones and maybe some gusty winds, and that's why these warnings have been issued. As Suzanne talked about, no warnings around the metro right now. Certainly plenty of thunder and lightning, locally heavy rainfall, and even some small hailstones, but nothing of the severe variety around the metro. Folks, I'll keep you posted in and around the metro, no question about it, as the entire line continues to push off to the east. Watching from places like Brandenburg right now, you have a little lull in the action. Certainly a lot of lightning in the skies to your south and to your north, but in and close to Brandenburg, not much happening. Corydon, you folks, some heavier downpours, a little bit of thunder and lightning, nothing severe for you. Same can be said down near Hardinsburg, very heavy rainfall, perhaps a little bit of hail in and close to Hardinsburg, and kind of scattered around the Litchfield area. It looks like just north and west of you. You get over towards E-Town, you get over towards Bardstown, and then towards Springfield, Lebanon, Campbellsville, Greensburg, Munfordville. Not much happening right now. Everything is quiet, it's warm, it's breezy, temperatures in the 70s, but these storms will continue to funnel in your direction. So don't put down your guard, okay? Stay up on the latest forecast. We got you covered right here on WLKY. We're going to stay on top of this throughout the night as long as it takes to get these things out of here, because as Suzanne just talked about, there's nothing worse than severe weather happening in the middle of the night. It can absolutely be frightening, and we're here to alleviate such a feeling, and we're going to keep you posted, no question, as these things continue to track off to the east and also the southeast. So again, a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, one tornado warning that really isn't looking all that good. It looks like it was canceled, didn't it?
Yeah, it looks like they're going to allow that tornado warning in Orange County to expire. It looks like your system's keeping it up, Jay, until 11:15 when it was initially supposed to cancel, but they did just cancel it just a minute ago. So that's it for tornado warnings for now.
Good.
However, we're watching this line closely, but as we mentioned, the good news is the line has been weakening. So this is something we expected. That's the good news. They've dropped the tornado warning, but I believe there's still this tornado or severe thunderstorm warning with tornado tag here, yes, for portions of, and you can see here for a few counties, they're starting to drop that one as well. But this one is for 60-mile-per-hour winds here, portions of Washington, Perry County, and that includes Orange County as well, where we had that tornado warning. And then you can see the one off to the east as well. Still a little bit of hail indicated too.
And Daniel, I think that they're going to go ahead and try to issue another severe thunderstorm warning for that one, that the Harrison, Washington, Clark County line.
Got it.
That you were talking about with the hail.
Yeah, and some of these are big hail makers. And we had some impressive pictures coming in earlier of golf ball size, some larger hail size. We don't see any of that right now, at least no reports of it, but we do see 1.5 inch hail being reported here between Palmyra and Greenville. So that system's moving off to the east and northeast as well. That's a severe thunderstorm warning for wind gusts 60 miles per hour and some possible large hail as well. But right now, no tornado warnings. We just have a few severe thunderstorm warnings now in effect for a few spots. In the metro, no warnings for now, but we're watching that line off to the west, Jay. We've been watching it since it's been in Illinois today and even areas out to the west of there. And that line continues to progress east, and it is moving quickly, Jay. So even if it's not severe when it rolls through the metro later on tonight, we're still expecting some gusty winds, some dangerous lightning, and loud thunder as these storms roll through. And they are quick movers, so that helps us clear out quicker. We're thinking probably 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, we'll probably start to dry out here in the metro.
Yes, exactly right, Daniel. No question about it. Until that time, though, we're not going to put down our guard as we still have a number of warnings in effect.
You see that?
Severe thunderstorm warnings. That tornado warning, as Daniel just talked about, is pretty much dead. It has been discontinued. Will be dropped off the warning map here shortly. But we still have severe thunderstorm warnings out there. The new one, which encompasses Clark County. I was talking about this storm just a few moments ago. Well, there it is. There's the new warning that does include Sellersburg, Charlestown, up to near Henryville, for example, Borden, Daisy Hill, everything moving off to the east-northeast. Possibility of some hailstones in that particular cluster right there. As you can see, there it is. And let's go ahead and track that as the storm is moving rapidly off towards the east-northeast at speeds of around 45, 50 miles an hour. So in the path of a hail core, and also a wind gust that could be up to 60 or so. Places like Borden, Starlight, Blue Lick, Perry Crossing, Sellersburg, and Memphis. If you're in those communities, just hunker down, stay in your safe place until this storm has passed on by. It's not a tornado producer, but it is producing gusty winds and perhaps some hail as it moves quickly off to the east-northeast. Or if you're in or around these areas, around these communities, please do the same for us as well. All right, let's go ahead and take that off, and we'll put the reflectivity field back on, pull out, take a look at the entire viewing area. I'm going to get it over to Rick and Vicki here for our 11 o'clock news, and we're going to regather in the Weather Center and get our thoughts together. But as far as what's going on right now, nothing for the metro. No warnings. We have the tornado watch that continues until 4 a.m. Scattered storms as you work off towards the southwest into northern Hardin County, on into places like Breckenridge County, northwestern Grayson County. Much of the action that is potentially severe with hail, some high winds, farther off to the north, Clark County, and then back off towards the west here. Don't count that red box. That thing has been canceled, okay? It just hasn't dropped off this warning map. But there are no tornado warnings right now in the viewing area. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings for some high winds on a scattered basis and maybe a little bit of hail as everything moves off to the east. So kind of a lull around the metro right now. We're going to regather our thoughts there in the Weather Center. So in the interim, we're going to toss it over to Rick and Vicki. Guys?
All right, thank you, Jay. We'll get back with you in just a few minutes. Good evening. I'm Vicki Dorch.
And I'm Rick Van Hoos. At least one tornado has left a path of destruction across parts of southern Indiana and Kentucky tonight. Officials say the tornado had wind speeds of 115 miles per hour.
All right, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Jay Cardosi now, who has been tracking these storms. Of course, the weather has been the headlines all day. Jay, do you want to go in now, or you want us to continue?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no question about it. You're right, Rick and Vicki. The weather has been the headline all day. One individual storm earlier that came out of places like Hanover, Madison, towards Milton, over towards Carrollton. That was the one lone supercell, but boy, it did some damage with that tornadic weather. And as Rick alluded to, that low-end EF2 tornado that touched down. Not sure if it was on the ground continuously or if it skipped. National Weather Service is still out doing their assessments. They're done for the night, but they will reconvene tomorrow, and more assessments will be done, not only around Trimble County, but back into Jefferson County, perhaps Carroll County as well. Okay, here's what's happening as of right now. A scattering of thunderstorms along and especially north of the Bluegrass Parkway, the Western Kentucky Parkway, through the metro. No severe weather in the metro right now, but just off to the north and west, we do have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. One to include Clark County, the northern 2/3 of Clark County. So you get to near Sellersburg and points off to the north to near Charlestown, up to Henryville, Marysville, let's call it Borden, the Dean Lake area. Yeah, you're underneath a severe thunderstorm warning for some hail and some high wind. That storm moving off to the northeast. We have this line segment, which, by the way, I need to say this thing was much better defined as it was out here near the Wabash. It was actually producing tornado warnings along its path. Well, we're losing the rotation now along this line, and you can see how discombobulated the front edge has become. That's indicative of a weakening line segment. So knock on wood, hopefully that trend will continue. As it stands right now, that line segment from western Washington County into Crawford County, Perry County, at least the leading edge, could have some scattered strong wind gusts to 60 miles an hour. Non-severe cells as you work off to the south through Bullitt County, Meade County, Western Hardin, Breckenridge, and also Grayson counties. Again, Vicki, Rick, not much happening around the metro. We're still not out of the woods. The tornado watch continues until 4 a.m., but it does appear that the threat for tornadoes is dropping off a little bit, and perhaps we're seeing a weakening trend to these storms as well. Good news there. Yeah. Guys, we do have some changes on the 7-day forecast. We'll have that for you a little later on in the newscast. All
right, we look forward to it. Thanks, Jay. Sure. Now, as we mentioned, at least one tornado violently ripped through the area this afternoon. Homes in southern Indiana and Kentucky were heavily damaged.
A subdivision in Hanover, Indiana, taking a direct hit. Our Randall Cam is there and joins us live to show us the destruction left behind. Randall?
I was on the front porch and I was watching the storm, and I saw it hit in another subdivision over there. I knew it was coming this way, so we just ran to the middle of the house into the utility room, and about 30 seconds later it hit, and you see the damage.
Insulation started coming down, and then you could hear the rain, and people say it sounds like a train. Yeah, it was loud.
Gail and Brenda Leiter just moved into this newly built home 3 months ago. Now, it's in ruins. Their home in the Jefferson Manor subdivision hit by a tornado so strong it ripped off the roof, knocked out windows, and threw debris into neighboring yards. Shortly after the storm ended, the leader's grandchildren arrived and were relieved to find their grandparents unharmed.
We don't have a scratch. We're not in the hospital. None of our other relatives got hurt. We can always build back.
Well, the youngest one, she cries, you know, because she thinks we're hurt, and I assured her that we didn't have a scratch on us and we were good. So I said, we'll cry later.
On the next street over, Bill Wagner lost the home he's lived in for 25 years. Wagner's roof also ripped off by the tornado.
I heard the noise first, the train, then I just ducked down on the floor, and then I felt all that insulation falling on me, and it was blowing unbelievable.
Is that what's on your sweater?
Yeah, I couldn't see, had to dig my way out of it, because there's 2 feet of it in there. And it was all over, 10 seconds. It was amazing how I heard glass breaking, and then the ceiling saw popped out.
The response from friends, family, and neighbors in Jefferson Manor was swift. Within minutes of the tornado hitting and damaging homes, the cleanup began. Some people cleaned the yards of others and didn't even know the people they were helping. Boards could be seen embedded in houses, an indication of the strength of the winds produced by the storm. Bill Wagner survived without injury, but says he lost it all.
It's gone. There's nothing left. The back wall's gone. The roof's off the garage in my workshop, and inside there's timbers everywhere, and you can't hardly get around inside, and all the insulation's on the floor. And it's total devastation. It'll take a bulldozer to fix it.
Randall Cam, WLKY News.
It was less than 30 seconds. I mean, less than that.
Just a few miles up on the Ohio River from Hanover, there was also extensive damage in Milton, Kentucky. That's in Trimble County, right across the river from Madison, Indiana.
WLKY's DeAndrea Turner was on the ground there right after it happened.
A couch, a refrigerator, remnants of someone's home. This used to be a camper that's now floating in this river, and this is just some of the damage here on Highway 36 and across Milton. The storm swept through this area a little before 2:30 this afternoon. Our crews arriving just an hour later to see cleanup underway. Damaged businesses to people's livelihoods destroyed. Many people I spoke with says it feels like deja vu.
I went through the 74 tornado and lost everything I had. So this is bringing back a lot of that.
I've been through the 74 tornado, and it was awful too. So this is really devastating, and I'm just glad nobody was hurt.
Before I could get to our apartment, I was knocked over by the wind. I just looked up, and I just seen all the trees and the barn back there just be flattened all at the same time.
In Milton, DeAndrea Turner, WLKY News.
The storm is also causing outages in Trimble County and had a major impact on traffic there. The Trimble County Sheriff's Office reports Kentucky 36 will be open to residential traffic only. Power companies say it could take up to a week to rebuild after the damage.
Several other communities in southern Indiana are cleaning up after the storm rolled through this afternoon. A campground in nearby Jefferson County, Indiana, saw heavy damage from the storms. Trailers on the campground were flipped, with debris scattered across the grounds and into the pond close by. Be sure to stay up to date with severe weather by downloading the WLKY mobile app and check out all the damage on WLKY.com. We'll be right back.
From Perry Crossing to PRP, WLKY Weather has you covered. Get unique weather features on the free WLKY app and stay connected with Jay Cardosi.
Hardee's Philly cheesesteak favorites are back. Handcrafted creations with sauteed peppers, onions, and melty cheese. Offers on the Hardee's app.
Now, your WLKY weather with Chief Meteorologist Jay Cardosi.
All right, folks, here's the very latest we have for you. As you can see, we have a scattering of showers, rumbles of thunder around Jefferson County. Nothing severe at this time around the metro, although we've had reports of some hail, some small hail on the east end and also off towards the west. Now, as we kind of pull out here and go a little bit farther off to the north, we do have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that continue, mainly for the possibility of 1-inch hail and also winds that could be upwards of 55 to 60 miles an hour. One warning right here in central and northern Clark County. If this storm maintains its intensity, it's going to move towards, let's say, places like northeastern Clark County on into Trimble County, could even catch places like Hanover and Madison. Now, it's not tornadic, but nonetheless, I know there's a lot of heightened awareness going on, certainly with the tornado that did pass across our northeastern communities earlier this afternoon. We have another severe thunderstorm warning for a line segment that is now cruising its way across Washington County, including you folks in Salem, down into northwestern Harrison County. This is near Milltown, Hancock Chapel, just west of Palmyra, west of Corydon, and it takes it on into northeastern sections of Perry County near Oriole, as well as Mount Pleasant and the Magnet area. Okay, this line segment moving quickly off to the east-southeast at speeds of around 45 to 50 miles an hour. Again, we have some heavy rainfall. New Albany down to Lanesville, not severe. That will be moving through the metro with some lightning and thunder and maybe even a little bit of small hail. All right, on the Kentucky side of the Ohio River, everything you see, some locally heavy rainfall, thunder, lightning, maybe some wind gusts up to 40, 45 miles an hour, but nothing severe at this time. And if anything, folks, as I put this in motion, well, I could put it in motion, but not now I can't. But nonetheless, it's weakening. Everything is weakening as everything pushes off towards the east and also the southeast at speeds of around 40 to 50 miles an hour. Again, not much has happened south of the parkways just yet, but that will be changing. Once we get past midnight, 1, 2 a.m., everything will be tracking off towards the southeast. All right, so here's our forecast now as we push through the overnight period. Showers and storms, no question about it. Some of them could be strong to still locally severe. We'll settle back to around 61 degrees. Your 12-hour forecast now for tomorrow. We're done with the severe weather. Matter of fact, I think in the metro we'll be done by 2 a.m. and by 4 a.m. across the entire viewing area. But we'll have some lingering showers from time to time tomorrow as the cooler air settles in. 60s in the morning will turn into 50s in the afternoon. And your 7-day forecast, much better for the weekend. Saturday, beautiful weather, 67, some sunshine. We're still close to 60 on St. Patrick's Day with a mix of clouds and sun. A little chilly there as we move towards Monday and even the first day of spring Tuesday, but Vicki, Rick, we will come out of it back into the 60s, even close to 70 1 week from today. Still some strong storms, most of them off to the north of the metro. Nothing tornadic, and I think the tornado threat is really starting to drop off now. So good news there. But hey, Suzanne's here, Daniel's here, I'm here. We're going to be here until we get all of this stuff out of here. We'll keep you posted.
Luckily, no one has been hurt or injuries reported anyway.
That's right.
Thanks, Jay.
It's that time of year. Area teams fighting for a spot in the NCAA tournament. Kent Taylor has the highlights next in sports.
Savings. Big O savings.
Now, buy 3, get 1 free on select and stock Sumitomo, Cooper, and Knit.
Thank you, Brett. The Cats will play Texas A&M tomorrow night. Indiana won on a last-second tip-in tonight. Let's go back to Rick and Vicki. We have some more weather situations.
All right. Thank you, there, Kent.
Storms are moving in. Chief Meteorologist Jay Cardosi has an update for us right now. Jay?
Yeah, guys, thank you so very much. We have a brand new tornado warning that's just been issued. That's why we're coming back on. We're going to be on for a while here, gang. This tornado warning is for places like Breckinridge County, very close to Hardinsburg, and then points off to the east into southern Meade and far western sections of Hardin County. So just west of Rineyville, for example, that's where the tornado warning is in effect for Hardin County. You go up into places of Meade County, very close to Flaherty, over towards Guston, and then you can see central portions of Breckinridge County underneath this tornado warning, to include Hardinsburg, over to the east of there, Garfield, Custer, Big Springs, the Irvington area, all these regions underneath the tornado warning. So please, if I called out your city, if you reside inside this red polygon, you're in the tornado warning. Get to your place of safety immediately and stay there until the danger has passed. Of course, where you want to go is a basement. If you don't have a basement, get to the lowest level of your house, an interior room. Put as many walls between you and the outside where there's likely debris flying around. That's the key. You want to protect yourself from flying debris. Avoid windows at all costs. Get underneath something sturdy, maybe a workbench. Cover yourself up. Pillows, blankets. That'll help protect from any falling debris. And typically, mobile homes, you want to get out of those things. And I know if the storms are right on top of you, that's a hard thing to do. So typically, before the storms hit, earlier in the day, you want to make a plan to get somewhere sturdy. Maybe it's a grocery store, a gas station, a restaurant, or a friend's house. So just kind of keep those things in mind as we roll deeper into the night. So once again, a tornado warning in effect for places like Breckinridge County, central and eastern Breckinridge County, western Hardin, and far southern Meade County for the next several minutes. Again, it was one of these line segments, and it looked like a little mesovortice tried to form on it, so there could be a quick spin-up tornado as we take a look at the actual velocity, wind velocity, and pattern, and I zoom in tight. Sure enough, you can see there's a little twisting going on in this region right here. Look real close now. I'll illustrate this for you. There is some bright green. That indicates winds blowing towards the top right portion of your TV set in a rapid fashion. There's darker green immediately north of there. That implies lighter wind, same direction, but nonetheless, just because the sheer change in speed, that implies rotation, cyclonic rotation. So that's why the tornado warning has been issued for this area, and everything moving quickly off towards the east at speeds of around 40 miles per hour. So we're going to track that messy zone of very, very chaotic wind flow as it moves off to the east at speeds of 40 to 45 miles an hour. Booleyville, High Plains, Big Spring, Four Corners, the Flaherty area. That rotation could be very close to your community within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, and a little bit after midnight as we get towards Four Corners and also Flaherty. Still around the metro, not much happening. I can hear the rain on the rooftop right now of the studio, but no severe weather ongoing around the metro at this point in the game. We'll go ahead and take off the storm track. We'll pull out. We'll take a look at the entire viewing area, go back over to our reflectivity field, and yeah, there you go. You can see one tornado warning off to the southwest. Off to the north, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that encompasses Clark County on into western and northern portions of Oldham County. This includes Sellersburg, Charlestown, Goshen, up U.S. Highway 42. It includes places like let's call it Henryville, New Washington, Marysville. These are the areas that are under the gun for the possibility of some hail and also some gusty winds over the next few minutes. Suzanne, anything showing up on the chat?
We've not had any reports of any damage or anything like that. I think they were just concerned that they saw that couplet tightening up a little bit. And you can see when you were showing us, Jay, some of the storm relative velocity here, you can see a little bit of rotation showing up. You can see in the southern corner of that warning area. If we want to switch over to Lynx 3 really quickly, we can kind of identify this for you. And you can see right near Garfield, this is near the High Plains area, over near Corners in Big Spring. We are seeing some kind of messy rotation with the storm relative velocity here. And we are seeing also, when we take a look at the shear rotation detectors, picking up some shear just a little bit to the north of Irvington. Our storm system, our radar is picking up some rotation there, also picking up some rotation just outside Hardinsburg here. So again, this is why they have that warning for this area right here. This is right along 60 heading into the Bewleyville area, tracking really fairly quickly, Jay, at about 50 miles per hour. So we can just go ahead and track that for you to give you an idea of where that storm's heading at about 50 miles per hour. So this is going to be near Hillgrove in about 14 minutes, Big Spring in about 15 minutes, over near Vine Grove in about 25 minutes, and also right near Rineyville in about 27 minutes. If this were to hold together, we know obviously that we are seeing strong storms. This line has had a history of producing some strong winds, and these storms are rotating. You know, this is an area, Jay, that hasn't been really worked over so far, so there's still some instability in the atmosphere. It is warm, it is humid, and we have this potent line moving through.
Okay, Suzanne, thank you so very much. Yeah, so we still have to be on our guard as these storms move across the remainder of the viewing area. Areas off to the northwest, what do you got? Something different?
Yeah, well, no, they were just, it looks like there's another, just, you know, where we were showing that rotation a little bit north of that, where we were picking up that rotation. They've now issued another tornado warning where we were seeing that rotation there.
Okay, so let's go ahead and pull out. We'll take a look at the entire viewing area, get an idea as to what's going on. There you go. There are the two warnings. Now, as I zoom in, these warnings include Meade County on into northern portions of Hardin County, Radcliffe, Vine Grove. You're under a tornado warning, so please, if you're down near the base, get into your place of safety. Get to your tornado warning shelter area. Just immediately south of Brandenburg, we have the tornado warning that's in effect. So maybe not Brandenburg proper, but just south of there, Ekron, Muldrow, Garrett, towards Flaherty. You folks are underneath the tornado warning. And then farther south of there, we have another tornado warning for a little bit of a hook. There's a little bit of chaotic wind here, some dangerous twisting of the winds going on. Just off to the northeast of Hardinsburg on U.S. Highway 60 there, moving rapidly east-southeast at speeds of around 50 miles an hour, as Suzanne alluded to. So anywhere in these two red polygons, we got to be on the lookout for the potential for some quick tornado spin-ups here over the next several minutes. And you can see what we're talking about here. You can see these areas of light green right next to the darker green shades. That implies that sudden change in wind speed, cyclonic rotation, and that's when you can get these quick tornado spin-ups as they move off towards the east. So I'm going to track the first one here for you. As Suzanne talked about, there it is right there, moving off to the east-southeast at speeds of nearly 50 miles per hour. Ekron, 1145. Hillgrove, 1146. Flaherty, almost 1155 or so. Vine Grove, closer to midnight. And same in the Radcliffe area. The other little couplet, if you will, is a little bit farther south, very close to U.S. Highway 60 in central and east central portions of Breckinridge County. That, too, moving in an east and southeasterly direction at speeds of around 50 miles an hour. So we'll track that one. High Plains, 1150. Big Spring, 1153. Perryville, just after midnight. Down towards Vine Grove again in the Rhineyville area, about 5 minutes or so after midnight. In the metro, folks, there's not much happening at this point in time. As a matter of fact, we do have some locally heavy rainfall, a little bit of thunder and lightning going on, but as far as tornadic weather, not much happening. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings now in effect.
And that warning for the metro now goes until 12:15, so just a little bit after midnight. And we're actually picking up a little bit of rotation showing up on that line where in the metro, we're going to be watching that closely as it moves across areas of Floyd County, Harrison County. This would be the strongest part of that storm as it kind of tracks into the metro. So for our friends in Floyd County, if you're in the Knobs, if you're in Shawnee Land, if you're in the Parkland area, Valley Station, PRP, I want you to just be aware this is a pretty potent storm that's going to be heading in your direction where we currently have a severe thunderstorm warning. So as we get you in a little bit tighter here, notice that line. This is where that warning is, and we were showing you some broad rotation. So that's going to be pushing in to the western sections. It's going to be crossing over into the metro in the next several minutes. So we'll certainly be watching that closely. This is in addition to at the bottom flank of that where we are looking at those two tornado warnings into Breckinridge County, Hardin County, and into portions of Meade County as well.
Okay, Suzanne, thank you so very much. So if you look real close there on the radar scan, you can actually see two distinct line segments now trying to form across the region. If you would come back out to me with links 1, guys. Okay, as you can see, from Charlestown and points off towards the southwest, right through southern Harrison County, and then just west of Brandenburg on into Hardinsburg. That's one line segment. And on the southern fringes of that western line segment, we have a little bit of rotation. A couple of weak tornadoes are certainly possible. Nothing confirmed. We're making phone calls, of course. National Weather Service folks, storm spotters, things like that, law enforcement. So far, so good. We don't have any confirmed touchdowns, but it is the middle of the night. It is raining, so hard to see. Nonetheless, a couple of warnings for tornadoes in effect. Then you can see another line segment that is rapidly developing from Spencer County just off to the north of Bardstown, back to E-Town, down to Litchfield. This has intensified decently here over the past 15 to 20 minutes or so. Now, around Louisville, let's close in and talk about the metro a little more so. Suzanne just talked about, we have this line segment here in Harrison County, Floyd County, close to New Albany, just west of Lanesville. This is going to move its way easterly across the metro. Yes, I realize we have some pretty heavy weather already ongoing on the Watterson, Linden, J-Town, just north of Fern Creek. Lightning, thunder, maybe some small hail, some gusty winds. But the line segment that's coming in from Floyd County, Harrison County, that one has the potential to produce scattered wind gusts of 60 miles an hour. Again, in scattered locations, likely not the entire zone, but nonetheless, the threat is there. So as it moves across the metro and northern sections of Bullitt County, be on the lookout for some pretty strong winds as this thing travels through the metro. Once this line segment gets on through, that'll likely be it for the metro as far as the severe weather threat goes, okay? We're not picking up too much rotation at all. Suzanne, did you check for that in and around the metro?
I did see a little bit just outside, just to the west on our rotation detector. We were picking up a little bit of shear along the, actually, if you want to switch over to Lynx 3 really quickly, we can show you that with Jay right there. It's right in that line that I was talking about. This is where we're seeing that rotation. So, you know, Jay, when you have strong storms, as you know, they rotate a lot of times. It doesn't mean they're a tornado, but it does mean that they're powerful storms. They have a lot of energy and they twist in the wind. So that's why we're picking up some of that rotation. But it's also indicative of a strong storm. And so we're going to be watching that as that continues to track into the metro. So heads up Shively if you're PRP, Dixie Highway, right along 264, the Shawnee Expressway, the Georgia Powers Expressway. We're going to be watching for that. And I think, Daniel, you had something to add as well, didn't you?
Yeah, you were mentioning some rotation showing up. I like that you showed the shear markers because that's really doing a good job at showing where the rotation is. Right now, we just have those 2 tornado warnings, of course, Breckenridge, Meade County, Hardin County. And you can see those behind me. Now, the Metro severe thunderstorm warning, I was waiting to see if the National Weather Service was going to issue a tornado tag because, as Suzanne mentioned, there's been a little bit of rotation in also in southern Harrison County. I've been watching that too. South of New Middletown, just northeast of Brandenburg as well. We're seeing a little bit of rotation in that part of the severe thunderstorm warning. The part of the Metro that's about to push through it's actually on top of New Albany right now and about to push through Louisville. It just has a lot of heavy rain and gusty winds associated with it. But we'll keep monitoring it right now. We do have just those 2 tornado warnings down to our south and then the larger severe thunderstorm warning impacting the metro. So right now, the metro, we're looking at hail, gusty winds, dangerous lightning for the next half hour or so as this storm pushes east. But yeah, there's a little bit of rotation all along the line, Jay. So we'll see if they're going to issue more tornado warnings or maintain just the severe thunderstorm warning right now because the rotation's not very impressive, but it's visible enough where a tornado could quickly spin up.
Okay, Daniel, thanks so very much. Bottom line, we just want to stay in our safety spot as this line of storms moves across the metro and also portions of Bullitt County. And again, New Albany getting hammered right now. The Portland neighborhood also getting hit hard down to near Shively, getting close to Valley Station, PRP. It arcs back on into southern Harrison County. The warning for the metro as well as the northern one half of Bullitt County goes until 12:15 Eastern Daylight Time. So watching from the metro, yeah, there's a threat for some high winds in scattered locations over about the next half hour or so as everything quickly races off to the east. Outside of the warned area, we still have a pretty good blow up of showers and storms. We'll pull out and take a look at all of the region, and you can see them running from Carrollton, Bedford, down into northern Henry County, Oldham County right now getting heavy rainfall, maybe a little bit of hail and some gusty winds, but nothing severe at this point in the game. Nonetheless, that trip up I-71 right now is no doubt a rough one. Then you get into the possibility of scattered wind gusts that could be 50 to 60 miles per hour from the line segment that's on the west end. It's going to be cruising its way east-southeast across the metro on into northern Bullitt County. Where it goes after that, obviously, we're talking Shelby County, Spencer County, on into Nelson County. Hopefully it'll weaken. If not, it could produce some pretty strong winds off to the east-southeast of the metro. Then we get into the 2 tornado warnings that remain in effect off to the southwest of Louisville. No tornado warnings for the metro, but we have a couple of warnings here. This is southern Meade County. This is northern Hardin County, Radcliffe and Vine Grove. You folks are included in this warning, so stay in your place of safety until this thing has passed on by. We also have the tornado warning that continues for east central portions of Breckenridge County and the far western tip of Hardin County. These warnings go until midnight tonight there for Breckenridge County, Hardin County, and the Vine Grove, Radcliffe area until 12:15. Possibility of brief tornado spin-ups as that line segment moves on through over the next 15 to 30 minutes or so. Still not much happening south of the parkways, as I've been talking about, though. That will be changing. Okay, if you are north of the Ohio River, and really the northern one half of Clark County and points off to the north and west, you're done. Just some light rainfall, some moderate rain, but the severe threat is now bypassing you farther off to the east and also the southeast. Suzanne?
And Jay, I don't know if you want to check this out and you can be in the key wall showing. I want to show you some of our Trimark cameras because this is the storm that's moving through that severe thunderstorm that we have that warning for. So this is right now a live look at 64 and 264, and you can see that rain is coming down in sheets here. And so again, this is right as that storm is moving through. This is another perspective here of 64 and 264 where that rain is coming down in buckets. And you can see that we've got some semi-drivers with obviously flashing lights on here. You can see the flashes of lightning. So again, this is right as you're coming off the Sherman-Minton Bridge, just past 264, the Georgia Powers Expressway. Another perspective here, you can see this is a look at 264. This is right at Crumbs Lane. So you'll notice if you look closely, it's difficult to even see. And every once in a while, you can actually see that camera, this Trimark camera, moving around a little bit with those gusty winds moving through. So again, this is right along 264 and Dixie Highway, and also showing you, of course, some of the strong storms moving through. We have a warning for the metro right now, and this is what it actually looks like here.
Yeah, pretty rough out there right now.
Certainly.
Sideways as far as the rain is concerned. You have some spray out there coming off the interstate. So if you don't have to go anywhere, and I know a lot of people work overnight or maybe have to get to work by 1, 2 a.m., if it's possible, you can wait it out, let this line move on through, and it will over the next half hour to an hour in the metro, a little bit later off to the southeast. But yeah, as Suzanne alluded to, wow, look at that. Visibility cut, rain coming down in sheets right now with those gusty winds around the western one half of the metro.
Yeah.
And this is all working off towards the east as well. That camera is shaking around pretty good right
And
there.
that's 64 at 9th Street. That's actually one of our more stable cameras. That camera does not usually move around like that. So just an indication of just how strong those winds are right now and that rain that is coming down in buckets. Jay, I think you probably want to switch over to Lynx 1. It looks like we have the tornado warning now in Hardin County that will continue until 12:30.
Yeah, and it looks like it's getting into the E-Town area as well. So let's get right to it. Let's zoom in tight here. Let's go down to Hardin County. The tornado warning, a new one, an extension, has been issued for central and northern portions of Hardin County to include the E-Town region, especially from about 65 and points off to the west. You can see 31W there, Dixie Highway, and points off to the west. We have the tornado warning in effect now. So please, if you're in and around E-Town, over towards Rineyville, and then over towards the Breckenridge Hardin County line, stay in your basement, folks. This line of storms looks like it is wrapping up just a little bit, has some rotation, and could produce a tornado at a moment's notice. You can see some broad rotation right now with this particular cell as it's racing off towards the east-northeast. As a matter of fact, there's the rotation right there. And what I'm talking about rotation, see the green? Those are winds that are blowing up towards the radar, which is up here. Red, the opposite direction. So there is your rotation right there, and this is moving off in an easterly direction. There's another batch of rotation, as you can see right there, immediately off to the west of Vine Grove and Radcliffe. Both those areas moving quickly east-southeast could produce weak tornadoes along their path as they move into places like Hardin County and continue to move across far southeastern sections of Breckenridge County. Guys, do you have any reports coming in?
We have not gotten any reports, but right kind of the bullseye, if we want to switch over quickly to Lynx 3. Jay, just as you were talking about, that's kind of the bullseye of, I think, where we're seeing the most significant rotation. And it ebbs and flows as it continues to move through. But that's right in that Four Corners area, heading into the Perryville area. And so if this were to hold together, this would head into the Elizabethtown area. I think we're we're really battling, unfortunately, not being able to get a lot of reports. So when the National Weather Service is seeing the rotation on the radar, I think out of an abundance of caution, especially considering the afternoon that we had, that's why we're watching for these warnings. But that is probably the best rotation that I have seen this evening, right in that Four Corners area where we're picking up that rotation there. I think, Daniel, you've got something to add.
Yeah, if you guys want to keep that map up, and if you can zoom just a little bit to the left up toward Custer, just to your west, that right there, yeah, that's where the rotation went through just a few minutes ago. We had someone from the fire department chime in on the National Weather Service chat and saying that that rotation went right over him. He didn't see anything, just some really strong gusts up to 55 miles per hour is what he measured. So that's good news in terms of hoping that that rotation isn't working its way to the ground. It doesn't mean there's not going to be a tornado that is spinning up. It's one of those types of systems where a tornado can touch down quickly, go back up in the cloud, and then come back down again. But at least we're getting a report from Custer in Breckenridge County where the rotation did just go over. He said no tornado on the ground, at least there where he was.
Okay, good news there. All right, but let's not put down our guard, certainly, as we have a number of tornado warnings that remain in effect until after midnight tonight to the south of the metro. And in the metro itself, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings for the possibility of 60-mile-an-hour winds. And I'll tell you what, it is blowing very hard out there right now, as Suzanne talked about. We'll take a look at some of our tower cams as we look outside. This is a view from the studio back towards the city. And I'll tell you what, we can't see much just because of the heavy rainfall. Excuse me, the heavy rainfall and the winds that are blowing quite strong right now, 50, 55 miles per hour. We'll go over to another one of our tower cams, and this is looking from the Sheraton in Jeffersonville. That's the 2nd Street Bridge, downtown Louisville. We're getting pretty decent flashes of lightning out there right now. So some pretty heavy weather moving through the city as we speak. And it's going to continue to push off towards the east at a pretty good clip here over the next 15 to 30 minutes or so. But we'll put our reflectivity back on. I'm going to zoom in tight to the metro itself as we just talked about the tornadic cells, the potentially tornadic cells off to the south. You can see the very heavy rainfall. Valley Station, Shively, downtown, and then up the 71 corridor as we're working towards Prospect, the Glen Oaks area, the Ford truck plant, Crestwood, Pewee Valley. This is that line that is indeed not only producing blinding rainfall, but winds that could be 50 to 60 miles per hour in random locations as everything cruises off to the east. So watching from J-Town, Fern Creek, Glen Mary, and points off to the east, you still have some heavy weather heading in your direction. Suzanne?
Yeah, and actually, you know, you were showing us exactly what was happening. I want to just quickly, if we could, finish up and show you really quickly some of our Trimark cameras to give you an indication of what you're seeing as it's moving through the metro. So right now, this is a live look at 264, a little bit closer to Brownsboro Road. You can see there is standing water here on the roadway here. Just an indication of these storms as they are continuing to move through the metro. Obviously, anyone driving in this is going to be very hazardous. Now, in the metro, we currently have that severe thunderstorm warning, and you can see torrential downpours. This is a live look at the Lincoln Bridge. This is a look at 64 into the downtown area. Visibility is practically to nothing at this point. A live look at 264. This is right near Crumbs Lane. Again, some very heavy rainfall there. And you can see it is just absolutely pouring. This is a live look at the Waterston right over by Breckenridge Lane, where it is just pouring here. So what we're watching is that line, a potent line of storms moving through. Now, in the metro, what we're dealing with is a severe thunderstorm warning. This is what we're watching here. So this is moving right along the Waterston into the Windy Hills area, Barber Mead, Northfield. Heads up if you're in Middletown, if you're in Hurstbourne, if you're in Waterston Park, Newburgh, you're about to get the brunt of this storm heading in your direction. This is heading into Minor Lane Heights. It's about to cross over 65 and the Gene Snyder. It's moving right through the Fairdale area in the next couple of minutes. And again, very strong winds have been reported with this line of storms. Now, what we're watching as far as warnings, I want to paint on some of these warnings for you to give you an idea of what's happening. This right here, this line moving through the metro, that's a severe thunderstorm warning that will continue for about the next half hour or so. What we're watching farther down to the south is where we have a couple of tornado warnings, where we're watching some of that rotation continuing to push through the Radcliffe area, Vine Grove, through Longview, back through areas of the Howe Valley. This is also showing me some rotation here into Hardin County, into the Roanoke area. Also, that's going to be pushing into areas of Nelson County, also into portions of LaRue County. So this is a really strong line of storms moving through. And right now in the metro, no tornado warning, but certainly there may be some rotation that's showing up with some of these storms that are moving through the metro at this time. So something that we'll be watching very closely. If nothing else, I think we're seeing some very strong winds moving through portions of the metro at this point. I don't know, Daniel, have we had any reports out of the airport yet? Because this is picking up at least 49-mile-per-hour winds into areas of South Parkland, right along Dixie Highway from a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so they're reporting thunder and some light rain. The worst of it is about to hit the airport.
Okay,
So we're waiting on that wind gust that's approaching there. But the metro, getting hit hard with some of these strong storms to severe storms here with these strong winds. So we're expecting winds to pick up if it's not happening in your neighborhood just yet. This line is about to roll through. And then, of course, just wanted to remind everyone the 2 tornado warnings you see down there just south of the metro. If you guys don't mind popping up Storm Analyzer, just to give a quick review of where those 2 tornado warnings are now in effect. So down into St. John, Cecilia, E-Town. For those of you listening or watching in those areas, Rineyville, take cover, as there is a tornado warning in effect. Now, the rotation isn't that obvious rotation that we saw earlier today, but there's definitely some rotation there. So again, central portions of Hardin County. And then we have the next tornado warning just north of there. For those of you in Radcliffe, Vine Grove, make sure you're in your safe spot right now, just to be safe, just in case there's a tornado warning in effect there as well. That includes Fort Knox as well. So be sure you're in your safe spot, and that tornado warning's until 12:15. That's Meade and Hardin County.
And Daniel, I'm just checking out the Mesonet here in Breckenridge County. The Mesonet did get a 62-mile-per-hour wind gust. And also it looks like into portions of Carroll County. Now, this is since midnight, so it's 12:03. So I hope that this has been updated and it wasn't from earlier, but they do look like in areas of Carroll County that they were seeing some gusty winds there as well. So again, we'll be watching that closely, but in Breckenridge County did have some reports of some very strong winds there. So
and now we have an airport wind gust here in Louisville, 52 miles per hour.
52 miles per hour.
So that storm has now rolled through.
Hey guys, if you would, take the analyzer in the key wall for me. Suzanne, if you would run this for me. We have the warnings on top of it as we speak. As you can see, the severe thunderstorm warning for the metro. Let's go down into this region right here, pull out there just a little bit, and put on the base velocity for me, if you would. One thing that I was watching, the rotation wasn't all that impressive in the tornado warned zones, but check out some of the straight line winds here immediately west of Shepherdsville. You see those brighter shades of red. Those are winds, no doubt, in excess of 60 miles per hour. As Suzanne just talked about, we've had measured wind gusts since midnight, over 60 miles an hour in places like Breckenridge County. Well, it looks like this very strong wind gust is going to be pretty much on top of you folks in Shepherdsville here in relatively short order. So be on the lookout for that damaging wind gust. And of course, you are underneath a severe thunderstorm warning for such an event, for the strong winds. And then farther off to the south, there's still broad rotation. See the green and the red in between Radcliffe and Rineyville. Very weak rotation, but in tonight's environment, it's possible something very weak could rapidly come down to the ground and go right back up. So we don't want to put down our guard. And then a little bit farther off to the south, you see the E-Town area. I don't see anything tornadic in the E-Town area, but notice we do have a change in wind direction just off to the west. So again, if you're in E-Town, close to E-Town, west of there, on towards, let's call it Radcliffe, Vine Grove, Rineyville. Just stay in your basement. Let's stay there until these things have passed on by. Let's go farther into the metro now. Yeah, you can see that very strong wind gust in Shepherdsville.
Yeah, that's being queried at about 60 miles per hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's at only 610 feet, Jay. So we're going to be watching for that, certainly. 65-mile-per-hour wind gust just outside the Hillview area. And then you want to get into the metro just a little bit more here.
Exactly, yeah. So we've got the strong winds. As Daniel talked about, that wind gust went over the airport with over a 50-mile-an-hour gust. That is moving towards the east end right now. So I'll tell you what, really anywhere in eastern Jefferson County, if that strong wind gust has not yet reached you, it will. No doubt it's going to produce winds of 40 to 60 miles per hour for a short time as it moves through, especially on the very leading edge of the heavy rain shield. Everything moving quickly off to the east. So the severe thunderstorm warning continues for central and eastern Jefferson County for the next several minutes. Watching from near I-65 and then across the east end. Stay in your place of safety. It's a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, but still packing a punch with strong gusty winds, very heavy rainfall. You go farther off to the south, we have the tornado warnings that continue near Radcliffe, Vine Grove, down to near E-Town, as well as Rineyville. Possibility of a weak tornado spin up in those locations. Rotation doesn't look overly impressive, but we're watching it closely as everything surges eastbound. You get behind these two line segments and things are really quieting down. We just have light rain. The severe weather threat is pretty much done now as you work on into Harrison County and points off to the west and also the north. So it's basically Louisville, up the I-71 corridor to LaGrange, Henry County, Owen County, and points off to the east and south from there, where we do have the severe weather threat that remains quite high for the next couple of hours.
I was just asking to ask them to switch over to Lynx 1 for you, Jay, because the storm analyzer is being a little finicky. Has gotten a bit of a workout today, certainly. So we're going to switch back over to the Lynx 1 product for Jay to kind of update what's going on. There have been a little bit of an extension farther down to the south, as you can see down now into Grayson County and LaRue County with a severe thunderstorm warning, Jay. They've decided not to do a tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to replace those tornado warnings with a severe thunderstorm warning, which is some good news. It's downgraded just a little bit. Don't put down your guard, though. It's nighttime. These winds can be extremely strong in random spots along this line segment as they move off to the east. So new severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for places like southern Bullitt County, down to near E-Town, on into southern Hardin County. This also catches northeastern Grayson County. Possibility of winds that could be 50 to 60 miles an hour. The tornado warnings are going away. They are expiring or they are being canceled as the tornadic weather seems to have lost its gusto, so to speak. The rotation just is not all that impressive anymore. So that is some good news. So we'll continue to monitor that. As we go a little bit farther off to the north, guys, just raining sheets right now across the metro with some heavy wind, and that continues off to the northeast as well, on into Henry County, Owen County, 71 and points off to the east into Oldham County. So my voice is going, I got to tell you.
You have been talking a lot, and you've had a lot of heavy-duty lifting here today, Jay, so certainly. Now, you can see right here, as we give you another perspective here, this is a live look at 264 right near Brownsboro Road. So you can see things have calmed here. I want to find you some more of our Trimark cameras to give you some perspective, and I believe Daniel would like to add a little something about some of the reports that we've received so far this evening.
Yeah, so we have some power outages being reported in Meade County right now. Again, we mentioned mentioned Custer earlier, where they reported some wind gusts upwards of 55 miles per hour. That's where that tight rotation rolled through, and that continued to move off to the east. So we are getting reports of some power outages there. Crawford County, several telephone poles have been marked down or knocked down there as well. So they're starting to get some 911 calls in right now in those areas due to power outages and power lines that have been knocked down. But I wanted to also show you the tornado watch that's still in effect until 4 o'clock in the morning for a good chunk of the viewing area. They're starting to trim back the tornado watch up toward Orange County, Du Bois County, Lawrence County, Jackson, Jennings, and that's where we had that tornado watch in effect until midnight. So that has now been canceled. The rest of us under that tornado watch until 4 o'clock in the morning, as there's still conditions, you know, the atmosphere is still prime to possibly get a little bit of rotation and some tornadic activity. And that's why we're still looking at some tornado warnings out there. I also wanted to show you some winds being reported. Now, these are not wind gusts. These are just sustained winds. And you can see in Corydon, a sustained wind of 32. Louisville, 21, but just a few minutes ago, it was 35. And where you see those winds sustained of 20 to 30, we're actually gusting upwards of 50 plus miles per hour. And that's all due to that line that rolled through and that is continuing to roll through the metro as we speak. So we'll continue to monitor the line, get more reports here from the National Weather Service. But a lot of wind reports now coming in, Jay. It's going through a highly populated area, of course, as well. And these winds will continue to gust within these storms. But we'll continue to monitor it for sure.
All right, I'm going to try it again, see if the voice will maintain. Here we go. As you can see, there's the severe thunderstorm warning still for the metro. Heaviest of the weather, though, is now along and especially east of Interstate 65, Linden, J-Town, Fern Creek, Glen Mary, and points off to the south along 65. Just east of there anyway, in Bullitt County, where we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. Now, as we go a little bit farther off to the northeast here, heavy rainfall, southern Oldham County, not severe at this time. Right now, Shelby County from Shelbyville itself and points northward, very heavy rainfall. Same can be said in and close to Eminence and Newcastle, and then finally up into Owen County. Those areas that did get the tornado earlier today, places like Hanover, Madison, Milton, over towards Carrollton, that zone, not seeing any severe weather right now. I think the severe weather threat is done in this location. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see the tornado watches being trimmed back here in relatively short order for this region. You're going to get some rain for the next hour or two, but nothing severe. That's the good news. The severe weather threat is, again, where you see the brighter shades of orange and yellow and even some red mixed in. Eastern Jefferson County into Bullitt County, and then points off to the south. That tornado warning, folks, is dead, all right? There's no tornadic weather happening in this particular box area. That is some good news. The rotation has weakened, and in fact, National Weather Service has also downgraded that to a severe thunderstorm warning for chaotic wind gusts that could be on the order of 50 to 60 miles an hour along the line. Now, the line does extend from southern Bullitt County, right around Belmont, Lebanon Junction, and then down 65, just west of there, getting very close to E-Town. E-Town, be on the lookout for a wind gust. Could be on your doorstep right now. Looks like it probably is. That could easily be 50 to 60 miles per hour. And that follows the Western Kentucky Parkway, that heavier wind gusts down into the Litchfield area as well. And of course, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for that zone. Just ahead of there, heavy rainfall, lightning and thunder moving into LaRue County, as well as northern and western portions of Hart County. No warnings in effect, but again, that could change as this part of the viewing area that is untapped. The air is still pretty warm, pretty moist down in this region. So as these storms march into this part of the viewing area, there could be redevelopment. There could be some intensification, especially with the environment that we have right now. All right, farther off to the north, as you can see, it's the East End getting hit pretty hard right now with heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and the potential for there could be even wind gusts that could be 50 to 60 miles an hour yet on the east end, at least in random locations. Guys, I think west of 65, things are really quieting down now.
Really winding down. Jay, I wanted to point out, because you were just mentioning 65 in the Western Kentucky Parkway, and I want to give you some perspective of what that actually looks like as it's moving through. So right now I want to give you a live look. This is 65 right at the Western Kentucky Parkway, and you can see it is absolutely pouring here. Now let me give you another look here on 65, but a little bit closer over to the Joe Prather here to give you a look, and you'll also notice it's raining very, very heavily. It is coming down in sheets, and every once in a while you can see some of those flashes of light. So it is absolutely pouring in this storm. So this is a live look at 65 at the Joe Prather. Very, very heavy rainfall. This is a live look at 65. This is right near the Western Kentucky Parkway. So this is as that storm is moving through. Not clear if there is something going on with the camera. It looked like it just moved around pretty aggressively. But you can see also some of that very heavy rainfall that's continuing to move through. So that's what it looks like with a live perspective from the Western Kentucky Parkway. Let me show you what it looks like when we look at it on radar, and you can see it is pouring right along that line here where we're seeing that heavy rainfall. And of course, we're also dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning for that same area. So you'll notice where we have the warnings, we don't have any tornado warnings that have been left, but we are watching for that line that we just showed you moving through areas of Interstate 65 through Hardin County, back across portions of LaRue County. That's where we are now seeing all those severe thunderstorm warnings. And you can see this is some ground truth for you to give you some perspective of what's happening as it's moving right along Interstate 65. So the good news is for us, we only have severe thunderstorm warnings. Don't put down your guard yet. Severe thunderstorm warnings can still cause, obviously, a lot of damage. We've had a number of power outages reported, and obviously in the environment that we are in, we want to have an abundance of caution with any storm, because we have seen rotation in some of these storms. So again, there's still a little bit of rotation showing up here. This is moving right along areas of Hodgenville and Buffalo near New Haven, and this is just an indication of where we are picking up some stronger storms, some storms that have a little punch to them that we're watching as those are continuing to track off to the east. Now in the metro, you'll notice that that warning has been allowed to expire. It is not here anymore. Now into areas of Bullitt County, Nelson County. For our friends who are in Spencer County, Taylorsville Lake area, you are still very much under the gun. But when we take a look at the big picture here, you can see the back edge of this, again, continuing to actually dry out a bit. And Jay, do you have something to add on Lynx 1?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, take a live look outside right now. This is from the Sheraton in Jeff, looking down the Ohio River. There's downtown Louisville. Notice how quiet it is right now. So the threat in the metro is dropping quickly. If you're watching from the metro area, we'll get it through the east end, and you can probably say goodnight, go to bed, get a good night's sleep, as the severe weather threat in the metro is just about done. Certainly done for the downtown region. But as I put the radar back on, Suzanne, if you would help me out here.
Sure.
One of the things I did notice is down in northern Hart County. Looked like there was a little Boeing segment trying to form, and it was also on the S pattern of your wind detector, your rotation detector.
Yes, right there near Mumfordville.
Yeah.
Let's switch over, if we could, to Lynx 3 really quickly. I think I can show that a little bit more easily there. This is what you're talking about right through there, right along Interstate 65 into basically in between Bonneville and Munfordville. Let me go ahead and throw on the storm reflectivity here and see if we've got anything good there to show you. You can see some rotation in the Vento area, it looks like right there, Jay. And then when we take a look at the reflectivity, you can see, that little...
it's just this indentation right here. So you got the strong wind gusts, and then just north at the apex of the bow, just north of the apex anyway, kind of looks like there could be something at least trying to form there. So we'll watch that little area, and there's definitely a little bit of broad rotation in there. So we'll watch it closely.
Yeah, and there's no warning on that one. That doesn't mean, I think we've seen a couple of things that they've popped on warnings right after. We've been noticing them. They seem like they're popping up quick. You can see, and again, pretty decent rotation showing up here too into the New Haven, Athertonville area here, heading into the Howardstown area, a little bit closer over to Ginseng. We're going to be watching that. Let's see what that looks like on, that doesn't look great here on the radar here when we take a look at the reflectivity. Storm relative, there is some broad rotation there, Jay, right there that we're seeing, but nothing that screams out, and that's some good news. When we take a look at the Barron button to give you some perspective on some hail, it does show some hail. We haven't seen a ton of hail in these storms this evening. Obviously, earlier today, that's when we saw just tremendous hail. In fact, when we take a look at the hail tracker, not really much of anything showing up. We've seen some pea-sized hail so far this evening, but that's really been about it.
And you know what? We were expecting a general weakening trend as it worked farther off to the southeast. I think we're starting to see that. Obviously, we can still get some severe weather, at least in random spots, and hence the severe thunderstorm warnings that continue along and now east of E-Town to near the Bardstown area as well. But we're zoomed in tight. Here's the east end of the metro. No warnings in effect now for the metro. Certainly heavy rainfall on the east end near Eastwood. Let's call it the Gene Snyder out there, the Big Elbow, so to speak, just east of there. And then you get into Shelby County, the Shelbyville area, raining extremely hard. And then on into Henry County. No warnings here, but certainly we do have some extremely heavy rainfall. A little bit farther off to the south, here are the severe thunderstorm warnings. Eastern Bullitt County on into Spencer County. So watching from places like Taylorsville or around Taylorsville Lake, have some pretty heavy weather moving in your direction that could produce a wind gust up to 55, even 60 miles an hour. Warning now in effect for Bardstown. You just had some heavy rain go through you. There's still a broken line of showers and storms to your west that'll come on through. Could produce some pretty chaotic winds for you. A little farther off to the south, here is LaRue County and Hodgenville. Pretty heavy weather moving into your region. Possibility of wind gusts over 50, 55 miles an hour with isolated 60-mile-an-hour gusts. And even though we don't have a warning for Hart County, same can be said even down that way where there could be some pretty strong winds moving on through over the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. From the metro and points west and northwest, folks, we are done with the severe weather. That's it. You can see how things are drying out in our northwestern communities. Tornado watch continues basically where you see the brighter shades of yellow and orange and points off to the southeast until 4 a.m. But the TOR threat, the severe weather threat, at least for the metro and points north, up the I-71 corridor north of there and west of town, it is done. Good to see that we're now coming out of the woods, at least for the metro. Still have to watch our southern communities.
And we're going to be watching, and we'll keep eyes, of course, on your Marion counties, your Washington counties, obviously into portions of Greene, Taylor, Adair County, as those storms continue to track off to the east. And, you know, this is an area still, and we've mentioned it before, that has not been worked over a whole lot. You're still warm, you're still muggy, so there's still some instability to work with, and obviously the National Weather Service sees fit to continue to add some warnings onto that. So we'll have to see what the decision is to see if we're going to extend those warnings a little bit further to the east. And as we mentioned, you know, it's very difficult for us to get storm reports when it's the middle of the night. Everyone has to go to work. It is pouring rain. You're trying to get some sleep. Right. But in the metro, the good news is we're done with the severe weather threat. It's still a little noisy out there, and I know it's scary for you, especially considering the afternoon that we had. But we're going to be talking about seeing this event kind of winding down, and that's some good news for us, obviously.
Yeah, that is some great news. Daniel, anything on your end that you're getting? You're looking at some of those chat rooms and reports coming in.
Yeah, so reports are really slowing down right now across the area. So we're not getting a lot, just some power outages that I mentioned earlier in Meade County, also Breckenridge County. We have some power outages being reported there. But I'm noticing along the line of the severe thunderstorm for Spencer County, Nelson County, portions of Bullitt County, there were some really strong gusty winds, at least indicated on radar near the Lebanon Junction area. That's heading east, and it's going to be in Bardstown shortly. So if you're watching us in Bardstown, some really strong wind gusts heading your way. I don't see any impressive rotation popping up along that immediate line, that at least rotation that sticks out. But I do see some strong gusty winds that could go up to 50 or 60 miles per hour, pushing toward Bardstown. Hodgenville getting in on some of gusty winds right now. New Haven about to get in on some strong gusty winds as well. Bloomfield as well, and Taylorsville getting in on the strong winds and heavy rain as well within that severe thunderstorm. But man, these storms are booking it. They're going 45 to 55 miles per hour. And we're going to be clearing out pretty quickly. It's good news that we're done severe weather-wise in the metro, the immediate metro, Jefferson County here in Kentucky. So things quieting down nicely, and we'll see improving conditions as we push through the rest of the night. But still about an hour or so for southern communities.
And I just had someone post onto my Facebook page that they were seeing some power lines that were sparking. It looks like it might have been over into the Iroquois Park area that they were seeing some power lines that were sparking earlier. I'm going to try to get that video onto you, but it's on a Facebook. If you can email us video, that is always the preferred way to do the video. It's always much more helpful. We did get some reports out of Nelson County, and incidentally, we really appreciate your sending in your reports, some hail from Nelson County, but we haven't had any reports of any wind from Nelson County. So keep sending in your reports. We always really appreciate it. It helps us to obviously see, especially when it's dark out,
and do
see
it
what's
safely,
going on.
though. Please
Obviously, do it safely.
Yeah.
That goes without saying, Jay.
All right. Hey, as you can see, the main action now, give me the analyzer if you would, guys, in the key wall. The main action is now well east of town. But Suzanne, little worried about that intersection that's in Shelby County. It's kind of a west-east zone, and then it catches up with the north-south.
Is Analyzer still having an issue?
We can't use Analyzer.
Yeah, it's still having an issue with
Oh, is it?
Yeah. We can hop over to Links 3 if you want really quickly, and we can take a look.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go to Links 3, and let's kind of zoom and see that zone right there.
Yeah, right there.
That always concerns me in a situation like this, especially this part of the zone, when you have a north-south line and then a west-east line. Sometimes in an environment like this, you can get some rotation. You can get, a severe storm that pops up. And as Suzanne talked about earlier, when we talk about severe thunderstorms, it doesn't mean there's always going to be a tornado. A severe thunderstorm is usually a rotating thunderstorm, but a rotating storm is one that typically produces either strong damaging straight line winds, hail, and if that rotation is tight enough and strong enough and other conditions are present in the atmosphere, you can get a tornado spin up. Suzanne, did you see what's the wind pattern looking like?
Yeah, and actually it's exactly where you were talking about it. Right in that area here where we were seeing that kind of, that it's kind of dissipated.
Weakened, sure.
That can happen also. What you can see is sort of storms, they weaken, they dissipate, and then they strengthen again, and that is not uncommon, especially in the Ohio Valley with some of our storms. We have seen that happen many, many times, haven't we? It doesn't look quite as good on radar here, but this is what we're watching in this area just outside Finchville, right a little bit closer over to 53. That would be the area that we're watching. In fact, we can do a quick little track on that. I think these storms are moving at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So we can just do a little track on that to let you know
to make sure,
where that storm's headed, just to give you some perspective. Because of nothing else, Jay, we know that this is a stronger segment of the particular storm that we're watching. So this is going to be near Waddy in about 10 minutes for you. Bryant in about 19 minutes. Also going to be near Evergreen in about 20 minutes, and Frankfurt in the capital city in about 24 minutes.
Yeah, and what we're tracking here is a potential stronger wind gust. That's what we're looking at right now. Didn't see anything tornadic, but again, that intersection, sometimes it can get pretty hairy in situations like this. All right, let's take that off. Let's pull out here, and you can see the metro in the clear as far as severe weather is concerned. We're still getting some rain, but the severe weather threat is done. Severe thunderstorm warnings now continue from near Mount Washington through Spencer County, down into Nelson County, Bloomfield, Bardstown, south of Bardstown, Balltown to New Haven to New Hope, and then on into LaRue County, right around Hodgenville, for example. And then a new severe thunderstorm warning for the zone that we were talking about. We looked at Hart County saying, things are looking like they could produce some gusty winds. And sure enough, the rotation detector maybe not showing a lot of strong rotation for tornadic weather, but you can see how linear this is. That's certainly the potential for some strong straight line winds. And there you go, where we go from red to green. That is telling me that that wind gust, it's pretty decent right now and could be 50 to 60 miles an hour, at least in random spots, as this moves across sections of Hart County, heading towards Greene County, where the severe thunderstorm warning is now in effect, especially for northern Greene County.
And we were curious if, in fact, they were going to go ahead and extend any of those warnings. It looks like they have decided to. And as we're querying a few of these, you can see 56-mile-per-hour wind gusts, also picking up some wind gusts to about 49 miles per hour. That's in the Bloomfield area, north of Bardstown. So we're picking up some stronger winds here on the radar here. So we'll be watching for some of these storms to continue to pack a punch. Some gusty winds. I think we're probably looking, Jay, at more of a wind threat. This is not a situation that's similar to what we experienced this afternoon. We're dealing with some strong winds that are passing through and some storms that are rotating. It looks like to me where we're picking up those strongest wind gusts into the Hodgenville area, between Hodgenville and New Haven, and then right into the Bloomfield area. That's where we're seeing some of those stronger wind gusts here at that time. When we take a look at the reflectivity for you, you can see we're going to be watching this storm down here as well, right in that Powder Mill area. That's going to be passing through areas of Taylor County and into Greene County as well. So we'll be watching that closely for you. And again, as Jay mentioned, that's where we're picking up some of that rotation here, right along 31. Let's see if we're not picking up any hail.
No.
So
we've really transitioned from hail over now to just a wind event. Yeah.
And we do have a few wind gusts that are now coming in. A gust of 62 miles per hour in Hardensburg. We also have a gust to 51 miles per hour at the Shelby County Mesonet site. 41 miles per hour in E-Town.
These were earlier gusts, right?
Yeah, earlier gusts. 55 miles per hour gusting here at the airport in Louisville. So just some reports that happened a little bit earlier as these storms rolled through. But yeah, right now we're definitely transitioning from the large hail that we had earlier today to mostly strong wind gusts. Likely straight line winds, but don't let your guard down just yet. Within this line, you know, it's had a history of producing some tornado warnings and some rotation. So I'm trying to scan up and down the line to see how much rotation I see. A little bit, as Suzanne showed you a few minutes ago, but
not much.
Yeah, not much.
Not anything that would say, hey, tornado or anything like that. You know, and it looks to me that the northern extent of that severe thunderstorm warning, boy, it looks very discombobulated now, doesn't it, guys?
Yeah, it's not even in that line shape anymore. So actually, I did a little track on here. Jay, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's this southern line segment that's really taking shape from Hodgenville down into sections of Hart County and along and just east of there, which includes the Canmer area, Powder Mill over towards Hobson, Jessietown. This is getting on into Greene County, places like that. That's where there could be some strong winds. That actually looks to be the healthiest part of the thunderstorm zone right now. And this is about 60 miles or so due south of the metro. As you go north of Hodgenville, yes, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning up that way, but the cells seem to be breaking apart, very, very discombobulated. And that, no doubt, is a radar signature for a line segment that's weakening, all right? I'd be a little surprised if they reissued large severe thunderstorm warning farther off to the east. We'll have to wait and see what happens, how this congeals, how it continues to form and develop as it moves off to the east. But right now, you know, and looking at the windfall pattern, at least west of Bardstown, the western edge of that warning, doesn't look to be much going on. So that's actually some good news there. Hey, nothing in the metro. Matter of fact, the tornado watch has been dropped for the metro area, Bullitt County, Oldham County, Henry County, Trimble County, and everybody off to the west and north. It continues, of course, where we have the heavier storms, those broken line segments, especially east of 65. And now a lot of the heavier weather is south of the Bluegrass Parkway as well. So it's this quarter of our viewing area that we're going to have to watch closely, obviously, for the next hour or so. But once we move beyond, I'd say 1:30 or so, 2 o'clock in the morning, this stuff should be moving out of the viewing area altogether. But yeah, from Hodgenville, at least just east of there, and then down into Hart County, and then it tails back to near Warren County and Bowling Green. That looks to be the healthiest part of this thunderstorm zone now.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's the area where we're picking up just a touch of rotation. Let me get you in really tight to just, you know, the storm is moving into your area. I know it's the middle of the night. It's so noisy. So this is going to be near Allendale, Coakley, Bloyd, Lobb, Bloyd's Crossing, Summersville in the next couple of minutes. This looks to be the strongest part of the storm that we were watching and that Jay was pointing out to you near Badger, just outside of Gleanings. So we're going to be continuing to monitor this. We're not seeing anything that's screaming out to us as far as rotation, but we are certainly picking up some areas of some stronger wind gusts. They've continued to kind of shave down those warnings too. You can see that, Jay.
Yeah, no question about it. That is some good news. You can see the northern extension has expired or been canceled. We are expecting that. Hopefully that trend will continue. Certainly heavy rainfall moving towards Springfield, moving towards Lebanon, and soon to be Campbellsville, Greensburg, even Columbia. But yeah, that is the line segment that we continue to monitor, continue to track. At least the potential for a damaging wind gust on a scattered basis as it's now moving towards our far south and southeastern communities. So guys, looking pretty good as far as the tornado threat. It looks like that has really come down over the past half hour or so.
Yeah.
And even the wind threat on a widespread basis is starting to come down. So yeah, the weakening trend we're expecting south and southeast of the metro seems to be doing exactly that. But Suzanne, still a fairly decent line segment there you're tracking.
Yeah, we're going to continue to watch this as it moves into the Greensburg area, Summersville, Bloyd's Crossing near Black Gnat in about 17 minutes. So we want you to still be aware, even though it is not a tornado warning. These storms certainly could still pack a punch, and we know that they're noisy. In fact, let me go ahead and paint on some of the lightning for you. There is a ton of lightning in this storm, especially into the Buffalo area near Hammondville. So you are hearing that lightning. So if you're just waking up and you're hearing the lightning heading into the area of Powder Mill, Munfordville, Buffalo, this is the storm that you're hearing. This is moving through. It is a severe thunderstorm warning that we're continuing to monitor for you. And you'll notice when we take a look at the big picture here, as Jay has been telling us, the back edge of this storm system has now cleared the metro. Yes, it is still raining, but it is not severe. It's not going to be severe. The severe weather threat that we have, and it continues to diminish, is down right now across our most southern communities and back across areas of Hart County into Greene County and Taylor County, and perhaps, if this were to hold together, into Adair County. So we'll have to see. The trend has been for it to continue to weaken.
Yep.
We don't want to let down our guard. We, of course, continue want to monitor it for you. And you're still hearing some noisy storms right along the parkways here. So for our friends in Bardstown, Bloomfield, over into Lawrenceburg, I know it's noisy out there, and you're probably dealing with a ton of rain, but just something to keep in mind. We only have that one little polygon right there into Hart County, Greene County, and Taylor County. That's the guy that we're watching for you during this overnight.
Yeah, and the cooler, more stable air, it's rushing in here. We went from 74 here in Louisville to 60 in 1 hour.
Wow.
So yeah, that's helping to weaken the storms and pushing them out of here quickly.
Yeah, people love warm weather, don't they? They love the warm weather, but sometimes a little bit of cold weather is really good to have moving through. It can be a stabilizing force for us. That does look to be the case.
Yep, absolutely. All right, folks, we're going to get you back to regular programming as we are really seeing a weakening trend on the radar scan. Yes, as Suzanne talked about, we're monitoring this, and you know what? We're not going anywhere. If things do happen to intensify briefly in our far southeastern communities, we'll be on the air whether or not there's a new tornado warning, a new severe thunderstorm warning. If we see it, we're going to be on the air keeping you posted and you up to date, keeping you and your family safe and informed as these storms move on through. But as it stands right now, one warning, potential for isolated to widely scattered stronger wind gusts near Horse Cave, I-65 in Hart County, and east of there, heading on into northwestern Greene County and far northwestern Taylor County, where the warning, the severe thunderstorm warning for that potential strong wind gust exists for the next several minutes. Additional heavy downpours farther off to the north, close to Bardstown, in and close to the capital city, over towards Lexington. But these are not severe. They are breaking apart. They are weakening. So again, just our far southeastern communities having some pretty strong weather. But again, it looks like there's definitely a downward trend as far as the intensity goes. There's your tornado watch. It continues, especially south of the parkways. Everybody else, though, north of the parkways is now being chiseled away from that tornado watch. Certainly the threat is gone now in the metro and points off to the north and northwest. So we'll watch things very closely. Last thoughts, Suzanne?
Yeah, I would just say that, you know, certainly we've seen some stronger storms. It's been a terrible day into portions of the WLKY viewing area. We certainly want everyone to just kind of be able to go to sleep, get a good night's sleep, because we're going to continue to monitor this. At this point, though, it looks like, you know, it is a weakening storm system that we're now monitoring for us. We've had a couple of reports of some wind gusts just recently of about 51 miles per hour, as Daniel was mentioning. And, of course, there are probably some power outages certainly still tonight, Daniel.
Absolutely, especially across Meade County, Breckenridge County. That's where we've heard about most of the power outages. And also, just a quick reminder about the tornado that touched down earlier, Jay. National Weather Service sending out more storm survey teams tomorrow.
Yeah, and as far as we know, a low-end EF2, that's been verified so far. That was right around the Milton area. They'll be out again doing more assessments throughout the day tomorrow. Folks, once again, we're going to get you back to regular programming as the severe weather threat is gone in the metro and is coming down quite rapidly now in our far southeastern communities. For Suzanne, for Daniel, for everybody here at WLKY, thank you for allowing us to keep you and your family safe and informed. You folks have a great overnight period. We'll see you soon.
We now join our regularly scheduled programming already in progress.
I'm so bored. Wow, yesterday.